What is up, my friends? How are we? It is Tuesday night. It is the late night agenda, and as always, it's a pleasure to be here with you all. We're going to talk about Liverpool's transfer activity, or lack thereof, of course, tonight. We're going to be telling you why this is a momentous time for Liverpool Football Club, but not in a good way. Records are being broken, but not in a good way. We do think we have some positive vibes coming about the Trent Alexander-Arnold contract situation. Stuff around Virgil's looking quite positive as well. We're going to be taking you through some of the latest transfer stories. But as always, most importantly, we are here to answer your questions and talk about whatever it is that you guys would like to get off your chest. Have at it in the comment section. Thank you as well to everyone that has joined us nice and early. Appreciate you all being in. Right, so what do we want to kick off with? Let's say a couple of hellos. Kubo or Bakayoko, Craig, said Jay Muse. I don't really know enough about either. In all honesty, mate. I mean, off the top of my head, Kubo, 23 years of age. I know we're not talking about a player in Bakayoko who's any older. I think he's, 21, 22. Kubo's had a bit more experience. Not enough numbers to make me really confident with regards to end product, but he just turned 23, which surprised me. He only turned 23 last month. Now I'm going to be speaking with Liverpool fan Simon from Japan. We're going to be speaking with Sai on Thursday on his channel. So I'm going to be asking him about what the media in Japan are reporting about Kubo. We're going to be talking with David Lynch tomorrow as well, so that video is going to come out on Thursday. Any questions you'd like me to ask David Lynch, feel free to throw them into the chat or email them to me as well, of course, at contact@anfieldagenda.com, and I'll do my best to go through them. And the new podcast episode came out today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good one personally. I thought me and Jack got stuck into quite a good amount of subjects over the course of the 45 or 50 minutes. So thank you to Jack as well for joining me on that one. And we're still climbing those podcast charts, so thank you to your incredible support. I do have something that I have to talk to you about later on, so remind me. I don't know if you'll be angry at me or proud of me, but either way, remind me later on to talk about it. Craig, try and collab with Andy Cantwell. I don't know who Andy Cantwell is. And again, when I say these things, I don't at all mean them disrespectfully. I just don't have time to keep on top of everyone is making content. So I usually just wait for the knock to come on my door, and then we look at the circumstances, you know. So if anybody ever wants to collab with me, the door is always open. You just have to send us an email, but I don't know who that gentleman is. That's my own ignorance, though. Sorry. Craig, really enjoyed the podcast. And Colin Brooks, thank you. Scotty as well, thank you, mate, for your kind words. Right, so I guess, Ben, that's the first poll of the night. I'd like to ask, would the Anfield Agenda audience prefer Bakayoko or Kubo, or none? Put that in as well, please, Ben, if you can. Bakayoko, Kubo, or neither. Because, again, giving people binary options is one thing, but sometimes another option is still there. We're going to speak about a player who Liverpool had looked at in Hato from Ajax, but didn't pull the trigger on as the window goes on. We're going to be speaking about Kubo, of course, tonight as well. We're going to be giving you the lowdown of the full squad that travelled over to the United States on the preseason tour. The guys departed today for that one, so I'll take you through the squad there. Thank you, Ben. I got your message in the background as well on that one, Ben. Thank you. Kudus, the problem with Kudus, Jovan, is his release clause for this season has expired, mate. So you'd have to come to an agreement with West Ham on a fee. The release clause is 85 million quid. He is a really good player. I'm not going to push back on that. But I don't think we're going to try to negotiate with West Ham. And I've not seen any indication of it. So I think that ship may have sailed. Why can't it be both? It could be. And Blaine, again, I'm not saying that these are the only answers. I've still firmly believed that Anthony Gordon will be the one that Liverpool look to in the longer term. But Kubo has been spoken about a lot. James Pearce and others have said that they don't believe Liverpool's interest is certainly advanced, shall we say. Other reports are saying the opposite. But I don't know what to believe. Around Trent, we're talking about a new contract for Trent. That has been, shall we say, hinted at across social media. And the numbers involved in that are going to be interesting to see how you guys feel about it. We're talking about a potential £300,000 per week for 4 years for Mr. Trent, according to some of the reports anyway. Happy birthday to Mike Manning, our moderator, said Mark. Thank you, and happy birthday, Mike. Again, I don't want to give away your age. You did tell us, buddy, but it is a big one. And happy birthday to you all the way over in the States. Appreciate you, Mike. Thank you. Gordon is better than both, but Nico Williams is better than Gordon, said Brett Young. I agree on everything you've written. I do, but I don't think Nico Williams is really an option. I think Nico Williams is going to stay in Spain, whether it's Barcelona or elsewhere. So finally we're getting a little bit of sense being spoken now about Mr. Sepp van den Berg. Van den Berg will likely be allowed to leave Liverpool if an offer of €20 million comes in. PSV Eindhoven are not willing to go that far, but a substantial offer will be made to sign him. This is coming from a PSV Eindhoven account. However, it's not certain Sepp will join Eindhoven. Stuttgart are also interested in signing him. So, like I told you, that was the information that we'd always been briefed with or read up on or told about when we were speaking to people, that there is a price for Van den Berg and it's 20 million quid. So we can't be told that he's the solution at centre-back when we're openly being willing to sell the guy. So we do need to look at that situation as well. I was reading a piece last night, and do you know what? I'm going to read it out to you because, you know me, I'm getting to a point now where I like to call the echo out regularly. And Ian Doyle, well, I think one of the chief writers of the Echo podcast, or the Echo website, I should say, Ian Doyle has pretty much wound me up by something that he's written. Let me see if you can figure out why. So, Ian Doyle has said, Liverpool are more than happy to sign a centre-back. They showed their hand in this regard with initial interest in Lille teenager Lenny Yoro, until they, like Real Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain, backed away without making an actual bid. It didn't help that the Reds couldn't offer Yoro first team minutes, given the defenders already at their disposal. And the piece goes on to talk about why we could sign a centre-back. Now, am I wrong in saying that certainly the Echo and most likely Ian Doyle have told us on numerous occasions that they've been told that Liverpool don't have any intention of signing a centre-back? Am I wrong about that? It's a rhetorical question. I'm not. I'm absolutely right about it. But there we are. Liverpool are more than happy to sign a centre-back all of a sudden, even though you were telling your readers the very opposite for a long time, even though we had been in for defenders. It boils my blood. It really does. It's huge disrespect to the readership and taking us all for idiots. Tobias Bakke, thank you for gifting 5 Anfield Agenda memberships, mate. Very kind of you. One's gone to Steve Irons, one's gone to David Carroll, Richard got one, Sweet Jonathan LFC got one, and Neil Peterson. Thank you, Tobias. You're very kind, mate. 300k, it can easily be cheaper than going market to pay 50 million transfer, 150k wages. Selling on is never guaranteed with Trent or anybody else. Stephen said £300,000 a week is ridiculous, worst deal in football. So I'm trying to look at it like this. If that's the number, and we do have to say if, because this has only been what's been spoken about, ultimately Trent stays. So I take that as a win. Now, do I think we're overpaying for his talents? A little bit, yes. A little bit. Not by too much. Because he's already on 200 grand a week. With the contract situation, and with it going as deep as it has, and as close to him maybe leaving on a free, it was always going to be a number that some people weren't happy with. I would have liked the number to be about 50 grand a week less. But ultimately, I'm happy if Trent signs a new deal and we keep him. And if it's 300 grand a week, it's 300 grand a week. It is what it is. He is going to be a future captain. He is a local boy, and he does have a set of skills that, if we can bring it all together and find the right position for him, can make a big difference to us. So that I understand. And I'm just genuinely happy at the idea of Trent actually signing the new deal. The talk is it'll be till 2028. Again, 4 years. So Liverpool then committing what? 300 grand a week is about, is it 15 million quid a year? So committing about 60 million over the course of the contract, if my numbers are right. And I'm happy with that. As somebody said, to try and bring in a replacement, Again, taking in the fee that you'd get for Trent at this point, which wouldn't be as high as we'd want. You know, if you're ever looking at losing a player like Trent from the club, you'd want it to be for an astronomical number. One that you just couldn't turn down. And even then, we'd still feel a little bit disappointed. So if this is true, I'm okay at 300 grand. It is what it is. He stays. That's what I want. And if he stays and we give him that money, that's the club's decision. But what we can't have used is it as an excuse then about why we didn't sign anybody else. Because it's only 100 grand a week. I say only. It's 100 grand a week more than we think he's on now. So taking into account the stage of his career, this will probably be the big contract of his career. I think it's okay. Saka gets 300 grand a week. Trent deserves at least that, said David. Trent deserves it. A role model to young players coming through in the academy, said Coach Bill. 300k is fair. We need to keep our best players, and Trent is our future captain. Good, yeah, look, it's a lot of money. Of course it is. And historically, you know, we don't dish out big contracts like that unless it's for the very top echelons. And look, let's be honest about it. For all the reasons many people have stated, I'm okay with that for Trent. Remember, Mohamed Salah's wages are probably going to be off the books in a year's time, but it has set a precedent now. It'll be interesting to see if Virgil steps up and what he asks for. Of course, he doesn't have the age on his side that Trent has, and I have to keep reiterating that these are just rumoured, reported numbers at the minute. But it is good that we're at least getting some positive vibes about the situation with Trent. You know, I'd much rather be reading Liverpool are going to pay Trent 300 grand a week than Liverpool are going to allow Trent to run his contract down and make a decision about his future at the end of the season. That would have been stupidity. So I'm okay at this one as long as it gets done. Darian, Killer Kramer, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, my friend. Appreciate your support. John Rowe said, FSG out, I'm done. I'm going to move on to talk about the owners and an embarrassing statistic in a second, mate, so don't worry. But before I do, Jack Dempsey has a super chat that I want to read out, and thank you, Jack, for sending this in. Said, with regards to Trent, we have to remember Thiago's massive wages are off the book, and there's a high wage player now that will actually play every game. Very fair point, mate. Thiago's wages of about 200 grand a week off the books, Matip about 100 grand a week off the books, and about 60 grand a week for Adrian San Miguel off the books. So yes, we've only given Trent an increase of about, I say only, 5 million quid a year, or 100 grand a week. So yeah, absolutely within the club's finances. I just think if we get it done, fair play. You know, that's what I've wanted. I've said this to you guys all along. I just want these sorted. I don't want to be on moaning and complaining, but if we get Trent done, I think of that as a win. So, anyway, I did say to you, Mohammed John, thank you so much, mate, for gifting 5 Anfield Agenda memberships. Very kind of you, mate. They've gone to Christoph, to Tanya, Billy, Christoph. Nope, that's just a comment. Stu the Brew, me, and JD. Thank you very much, Mohammed John. Really appreciate that, mate. Right, there's a bit of an embarrassing statistic now that I'm going to read out. And it is embarrassing. This is the longest that Liverpool have gone in a summer transfer window without making a signing in 28 years. 1996, aside from the pandemic in 2020. That's embarrassing. To put that into context for you, Connor wasn't born the last time Liverpool hadn't made a signing at this point of a transfer window. We're about 6 weeks into the window now. 5 to 6 weeks. And that stat is not one that many Liverpool fans will feel happy reading. That this is the longest Liverpool have gone into a summer transfer window without making a signing in 28 years. What's this about FIFA getting sued, said Mark. Yes, players associations and a few others have sued FIFA basically because they're asking the players to do too much. This increased Club World Cup that FIFA are shoehorning in, that will see other tournaments maybe moved around. Rightly, player associations and some others are just saying enough is enough. We don't need this competition. Nobody asked for it. I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's a cash grab from FIFA. UEFA are the big money makers. UEFA are the ones that generate all the cash in football. You would think it's FIFA, but think about this. UEFA have the biggest club competition in the world. They've got their own, of course, international competition in the Euros. They have the Nations League. UEFA are generating a load of cash, and that's what FIFA want. FIFA want some of that club money, and hence they're trying to push through this Club World Cup, the revamped Club World Cup, which is going to just, again, tire players out. We're not going to be involved in the initial one, so from our perspective, we won't have to worry about our lads traipsing all over the world, but that's all it's about, greed. And it's disgusting, because what happens is the product suffers. And we've said this many times, the more you're asking of these players, whether it be on the international stage, on the club stage, you're not getting the best players. You're not getting the best out of the players. They're exhausted. Look at the Champions League final between City and Inter. It was one of the worst finals you're going to see with regards to the quality of football. And not because Man City or Inter Milan aren't good football teams, but because the players were absolutely shattered. And it's only going to get worse. Some players are going to have 2 to 3 week break before another season gets underway. Look at American sports. There is something we can learn there. A seasonal aspect of the likes of the NFL. 6 months in between seasons. Meaning that players can fully recover from injuries, fully rehab, and get ready to go. For the Premier League and for football in general, there is a lot of it. And it is almost all year round. So somebody finally has to make a stand on it. I'm glad that they're suing FIFA, because somebody needs to stand up for the players, and somebody needs to say enough is enough, because we're all just going to see inferior football, and none of us want that. We want to see these guys, the best coaches, the best players performing to the best of their levels, especially in the showpiece events like a Champions League final, an FA Cup final, stuff like that. Do you think we signed Ederson this summer? Said Tobias. No, I don't. I'm going to try to explain why. Often, players that we've spoken about a lot, or been linked to a lot, haven't really been the ones that Michael Edwards has then pulled the trigger on. And I hope we revisit, and we are looking at Ederson, but we have been linked with Matt O'Reilly today in a couple of papers and a couple of pieces. Celtic player obviously is wanted by Atalanta, Juventus and other clubs, and our odds have shortened down to 6-1 to sign him. 23 years of age, Danish international. I don't know much about him because I don't watch Scottish football. He has been looked at by Atalanta as the replacement for either Coop Miners or Ederson or both. So they're 2-1. They're the most likely to sign him. Southampton are 4-1, so they could be making a play. Then come Liverpool at 6-1. I would sign Ederson tomorrow. I think he's the right signing, but I'd probably be 60-40 against him being the signing. But it is just guesswork. Will, how are you, sir? And thank you for your super chat. Evening, Craig. First time back. Can't wait for the new season with Anfield Agenda. On signings, I just feel it's the same old with FSG. Too slow in movement for players. 28 years. 28 years since we've taken this long to make a signing. It is worrying. It is. There's no way of dressing that up. There's no reason we shouldn't have got a body or two in at this point. And I don't buy the Slot wants to assess his squad crap either, because that is just that, an excuse. And he's not going to get the chance to fully assess his squad before the Premier League kicks off anyway, because he's only going to get some of these boys back with a week or so to go. I can understand him wanting to look at some of the fringe and young players, but ultimately, we all know what we need. We need a centre-back, we need a midfielder, and we could probably do it another forward. And we got to get that done and stop procrastinating about it and just get the business done. We haven't done a damn thing this summer yet. We haven't even finished or signed off on a Trent deal or a Virgil deal. We don't know. We hope, and it is, the vibes are positive coming out about those. Jason Burton, thank you, mate. 3 signings would give us a strong squad with space for youth development. Lots of games to be played. Where's the money, John? So, Ben, can we get another poll? And thank you so much, mate, for that other one. So, we asked you guys who you would prefer at Liverpool. It's closing in on 1,000 votes, so we'll let it get to 1,000 and then we'll end it. Bakayoko, Kubo, or neither. So far, 47% have said that they would take Takefusa Kubo. 24% said Bakayoko. And 29% said neither. They would prefer somebody else. So we'll let that get up to 1,000 votes. And then I'm going to ask Ben to ask you guys an honest question about FSG. Do you think that FSG are cheap with transfers? There we go. We'll end that poll. So Ben, if you could, do you think FSG are cheap with transfers? Yes or no? And again, thank you to everyone that took part and voted in that as well, by the way. Appreciate your support on that one. Where was the other bits of news? So, I said to you guys at the start of the stream about Jarell Haddo. Ben Jacobs has been speaking about this and said Liverpool would have loved to have brought in Jarell Haddo very early in the window, but they never advanced that move. Liverpool felt like Haddo would stay at Ajax, so the deal never materialised. So apparently he was one defender that Liverpool were looking to bring in, but for whatever reason didn't pull the trigger on it. Player didn't feel up to the move, didn't want to move, wanted to stay put, but it didn't happen. I guess that's the best way to describe it. So it does show that it is an area of interest, I think, which... Is he a centre-back? I don't really know much about him. Is he a centre-back, Jarell Haddo? But either way, the lies about Liverpool not being in for a defender, like I called out all throughout this window, have been just that from a certain publication. Nonsense, lies and misdirection. He's a left-back. Left-back/centre-back. Okay, so he's a defender. Cool. So, Liverpool not signing a defender, or Liverpool not being in for it in this window. How's that? Remember that? Remember I've read out to you all the pieces from the Echo that said Liverpool aren't signing a centre-back. Liverpool have no need for a centre-back. Liverpool have briefed no centre-back. And then all of a sudden, centre-back talk. Told you. Be very careful what you believe in this situation, because at least you might hate me, but I'm consistent. I say it as I see it, and I give you my honest opinion. I don't try to manipulate you to think one thing and then another thing. That pisses me off when people do it. It really, really does, because it takes us all for idiots. Right, Harry, how are you? And thank you for your super chat. Harry said, if Rio had team training, can he play friendlies without Premier League documents? And the lack of transfers is ridiculous. It's low profile player. I'd be mad. So, one, I don't think he's going to be in and around the first team as of yet, full stop. Two, no, you wouldn't want him playing a game because you'd have to sort out the insurance for the player in case anything went wrong. And from what we can see, there's, the 5-step investigation into it that's taking place currently. So on Rio Nimoha, I think that is going to happen. Everybody seems very confident, whether it's James Pearce or Fabrizio Romano, that it's just taking a little bit of time and going through a process, but it'll happen. But you wouldn't risk playing anyone like that without insurance or anything in a friendly. Alex, thank you for your super chat, my friend. Really kind of you. Said, you've been my godsend for Liverpool news while on interrailing. What's the latest on Trent? Well, firstly, mate, I hope you're having a great time interrailing. That is a regret I have for when I was younger. I never got a chance to do it. And I tried to push my own daughter towards doing it as well, but she didn't. But I hope you're having a great time. The latest around Trent is, look, some pretty good accounts like Matt Thielen are saying things like, I have a hunch this is finally a week for some good news around Liverpool. And the vibes that we're getting and the rumours that are being circulating are that Trent is close to agreeing a deal. And it's a deal that's thought to be at £300,000 a week and a contract till 2028. I'm just trying to get my information on this up on screen here, 1 second. So, Spy on Cop, or the Cop HQ2, have put out a retweet, and it was retweeted by Anfield Talk as well, or a post to say, a few murmurings around Trent about to sign a 300 grand a week deal until 2028. I hope that's right, because that would put to bed any speculation around Trent. Right, so let's have a look at the poll. Do you think FSG are cheap with transfers? 88% so far saying yes, and 12% either work for or have family at FSG. Jokes. I'm genuinely baffled how anybody can say no. They aren't cheap, but I respect it. It's your opinion. What is Interrailing? So it's a scheme that you can basically get trains all around Europe. You buy a ticket and you can jump on and off trains and go and see Europe, backpack around Europe, stay in hostels. It's cool. It's a really, really cool system. There are free tickets as well given away every year to kids at 18 or 19 years of age if you apply for them. But ultimately, it's subsidised travel for people at the end of the normal school year, in between college, just go around and discover Europe. It's brilliant. Chris said, sorry I'm late, Craig. Trent defo signing. Did you see the seat covers at Anfield? Suspect 66 and number 4. I didn't see them because I was at my psychologist today and I'm only just back and I haven't had much of a time to check in on all the notes for today. But somebody else said, I think it was Mark, our moderator, said that the seat coverings had nothing to do with Trent or something. I don't know. But yeah, I know what you're on about anyway, the 66. I have a really weird question. For some reason today, 4 tickets to our live show appeared in my inbox. My personal email account. I don't know who sent them. Somebody sent 4 tickets to the Liverpool show to my email account. No note attached. No anything. I don't know anything about them. So I guess I'm going to give them away. But yeah, no idea what it's about. Somebody sent 4 tickets, no note attached, nothing, just and not even, I can't even check the email address because it comes from the box office of the venue. So somebody just bought them, used my email address and got them sent to me, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do with them. Will Van Dijk get a new contract, said Addis. I believe so, mate, yes. I'm going to put all these questions, of course, to David Lynch when I speak with him tomorrow. But again, the murmurings I'm hearing are that, yes, Trent will sign a new deal and Virgil will sign a new deal. Did I like Trainspotting and T2 movies? I like Trainspotting, yes. And the second one was okay as well, but I love Trainspotting. Terminator 2, not really my cup of tea. Probably a kind gesture. It is, Tobias. Look, it's a lovely gesture, but I just don't know. Like, I'm assuming they want me to give the tickets away to people. So if anybody wants tickets, we have some tickets for the Liverpool show. If anybody wants some tickets to the show and haven't bought them yet, I do want them to be used, obviously. I don't want someone to just say, yeah, take the tickets and not show up. I'd like this person who spent the hard-earned money to see that money go to you. So if anybody wants 4 tickets and you're going to come to the show and you're going to show up, just email us and I can forward those tickets on to you, or even 2 lots of 2. But either way, 4 tickets are there if anybody wants them. We've got some tickets for Cardiff as well. So if anybody would like some tickets for Cardiff, let us know. Somebody's donated some free tickets there as well. So yeah, good days. Just email us, contact@AnfieldAgenda.com. Remember, we're less than, 10 days away now from the shows. Is Xavi heading towards Bayern? You mean Xavi Alonso? It's Xabi. Probably after one more year at Leverkusen. Bayern really want them. Bayern really want them and Madrid really want them. Carlo's going to hang up his managerial whistle at the end of the season, so probably. Oh, Simon, sorry mate, my apologies, Sarang, my apologies. I have no idea. He's not heading towards Liverpool anyway. You know, we haven't been in that conversation. Sorry, mate, I didn't even cop about Xavi Simons. The 2 I'd seen were United were interested. Leipzig wanted to keep him. But from what I'd read, I think PSG were only open to a loan. Mark said, is there a chance though the tickets are a different theatre? Because it happened to me today. Everything was the same apart from the theatre number. Huh. I don't know, mate. I don't know. I haven't got a clue, mate. Maybe, yeah. Maybe that is the case, Mark. But either way, I've bought and given tickets to people, so I don't know whose tickets they could be. But, yeah, maybe it is that. You think the venue might have, attached something on top of that? We need owners who spend big dollars when we need to, not the likes of Mbappe or Bellingham. That's just major bonus if the owners do that. But players like Ederson and Inacio, said South Gamer. Yeah, I agree with you, mate. I wouldn't expect our owners to spend 250 million to try and buy Yamal, as an example. But I definitely do expect them to put up the money to sign players in the 40 to 100 million bracket. Craig, on Matt O'Reilly, he's a good player in Scotland. Don't think he's Liverpool standard, though. I don't know much about him at all. And look, I think he's going to end up in Italy by the looks of it. There's two clubs, Juventus and Atalanta, who are looking at him as a replacement in Atalanta's sense for Coop Miners and Ederson. On Kubo, Dario AS, who are a Spanish publication, have said Liverpool have intensified their efforts to sign Takefusa Kubo and are now willing to pay his release clause. This time the Reds are actually going strong for the Japanese winger. I hope that's the case, but others have said it's not really the case. I mean, I'm going to read through this one. Senior sources at both Liverpool and Sociedad have dismissed suggestions that negotiations were in the final stages, with Liverpool set to pay Kubo's release clause. That was from James Pearce. But again, just not putting words in James' mouth, but read between the lines of what he said there. Senior sources at both Liverpool and Real Sociedad have dismissed suggestions that negotiations were in the final stages. Didn't dismiss that we were interested, didn't dismiss that we were negotiating, just dismissed that negotiations are at the final stages. That's key to me in how James worded that. Very clever. Sometimes, as I've said to you guys before, it's about what isn't said sometimes and how it's said. James would come out and say if he didn't think there was interest. We've seen enough times in the past where James Pearce has said, as far as he's aware, Liverpool don't hold an interest in this player. And James Pearce is, as I've said, somebody I have the utmost of respect for. He also said, sorting out Trent's contract is a priority for new sporting director Richard Hughes. The club's vice-captain is on holiday after the Euros and is looking forward to working with Slot. Again, good, positive vibes there coming out about Trent. But I would still question how on earth everything is taking so long. Whether it is the renewal with Trent. And okay, he's on holiday, fair enough. We can still get Mohamed sorted if he has any indication of signing a new deal. And we can still bring players in. For those of you who might have joined us a little bit late, I'm just going to reiterate. This is the first time in 28 years, barring the pandemic, that Liverpool have not made a summer signing at this stage of a window. Connor hasn't been born in that time. 28 years since we've been this slow in a summer transfer window. It's unacceptable, quite frankly. So, Liverpool's travelling squad to go over to the United States, I'll go through in a moment. I just want to bring up Stephen Iron's membership comment. Thank you for 6 months with us, Stephen. Said, who would be your second if we didn't get Ederson? Good question. Probably Zubamendi. Or the guy from Porto, Varela. I'd probably be thinking somewhere along those lines. So no Ederson, then maybe Varela, who we'd been linked to previously. Yeah, they're probably the names that I'd be thinking of if it was no Ederson. So, the travelling squad anyway. This is the names of everybody who's going to be on the Liverpool preseason tour. So if you've got tickets to the games, you can expect to see these guys in and around the games anyway. Endo, Soboslai, Salah, Jones, Elliott, Costas, Robbo, Carvalho, Bajcetic, Chambers, Pitaluga, Phillips, Gordon, Doak, McConnell, Yaros, Kelleher, Beck, Nallo, Kumas, Vandenberg, Kwanzaa, Morton, Bradley, Blair, Stevenson, Davies and Leone. That's the travelling squad that are going over to the United States. Oh yeah, I told you to remind me to say something, didn't I? I've just reminded myself there. So, how do I word this? I've been offered a really good job. The process is confidential. And it will be a really big commercial deal to me and my family. Again, I'm trying to word this carefully. The email officially came in to me this week. And I've turned it down. And the reason I've turned it down is because of you. I'm going to back myself. You've given me so much belief over the last couple of years and support, and the podcast is starting to do well and the channel's growing. I'm not done with this yet. So I'm here, and honest to God, I can't believe I've turned it down. From one sense, with what I know it would do for me on a financial level, and from a career perspective. But this is my passion. This, as I've said to you before, this is more than a job to me. This means a lot to me, to get to do this. So yeah, just wanted to give you the heads up on that one. But I feel like we've still got some ground left to cover with this channel, and we can still chase our dreams. Anyway, I'm not going to dwell on it too long. Just wanted to bring it up. What other things have we not gone through yet? Oh, here's an interesting one. And I wouldn't do this if I didn't truly believe that we can do it together. We can build this. We can get to where we want to be. We can get to the big boy stage, the AFTVs, the United stands, that level. I think we can get there. And I'm backing us to do it. And also, I went into this project with Connor as a team. And if we leave it, it's as a team. So, I'm backing me and Connor. Villa. I've been thinking a lot about Villa lately, because they worry me, because of the good business they've been doing. But somebody on Sky Sports put together a squad depth chart for Aston Villa. And looking at the squad depth chart, I don't feel as intimidated anymore. Maybe I'm wrong on this. But here's the Aston Villa squad and the cover that they have in every position. So at centre back, our goalkeeper, they've got Emi Martinez and Olsen. We know how good Emi Martinez is. Olsen's bang average. At right back, they have listed Cash and Konza. At centre back right hand side, they've relisted Konza and put Diego Carlos in. Then they've got Pau Torres and Tyrone Mings as the left side of centre back, with Maatsen, Digne and Moreno, as their left back options. Midfield, on the right side, they've got McGinn and Tielemans. In the centre, Kamara and Barnechea. Then Barkley and Onana. Up top, Rodgers, Ramsey and Philogene. Watkins and Duran, and Bailey and Buendia. I don't know about everybody else, but that's a good squad, don't get me wrong, but I'd still say even without a signing, our squad is stronger than that. Maybe I'm deluded, but genuinely, I have respect for Villa. I think they'll do well, but that squad doesn't worry me. It does make me feel like they're going to finish above us. Yeah, maybe see what you think. Jason Walsh, thank you for joining Anfield Agenda FC, mate. Appreciate your support. What's this Connor sent across? So, Sky Sports have said, Richard Hughes, Liverpool sporting director, wants to strengthen, particularly in central midfield, following Thiago's departure, with another holding player in there. Good. Now, I'll do your job for you here, Richard. Ederson, thank you. Please and thank you. But that is good news, as long as it happens. You know, we want to make sure that that happens and that they're actually getting the players in. But it is good, promising news. Thank you for the super chat, Mac. Really appreciate it, mate. Said, we're behind you all the way. Anfield Agenda to the moon. Thank you, mate. And then Adam Brown said, missed a couple of streams lately. Hope you're well. Do you think Kubo is good enough? I'm unsure. Well, I think you've every right to be unsure. Because if you look into his numbers, the numbers haven't exactly screamed goals and assists. But, again, I could be deluded here, Adam. But in my mind, mate, this screams of a potential Michael Edwards masterclass signing where he sees enough in certain areas and in the data to show that with better players around him, or the next step, a little bit better coaching, that he could become a superstar. And I'll support that. You know, if Kubo is the one that Edwards and Hughes have singled out, I'm right behind it. I've said to you guys all the way through the window, I just want the players in. I want the positions filled. I want a centre-back, a midfielder and a forward. If they get them done, then I'm behind whoever their decisions are. Of course I've got my own preferences. You guys love your own preferences. But ultimately, I trust the judgment. It's just getting the transfers done. Nathan said, love your channel. Thanks for sticking with us. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. So this is kind of like the second time that's happened to me. The first time I would have had to have moved abroad for work. This time I wouldn't have had to have left Ireland for the opportunity. But I decided, speaking with my wife today, I just said, no, I'm backing us. I'm backing our channel. I'm backing me and Connor. And yeah, I'm going to just plough ahead. Kubo plays for a team that doesn't score a lot. The forwards are definitely not clinical with the chances that are on offer, said Gary. Gary and Jane Francis. Yeah, and that's why I think it could be genius, mate. Like, I'm being honest and saying I don't know a lot about Kubo. In fact, weirdly, I probably seen more of him when he was at Mallorca on loan than I have at Sociedad. But it does tick the boxes that we've been told they look for. So at least 100 to 150 senior games. Young, he's just turned 23 last month, so he's right in that profile. Buyout clause at about 60 million euro, just over 50 million pound. It does tick a lot of the checklists that we've been told that the club look into when signing a player. So I'll be interested to hear what David Lynch thinks on this when I speak with him tomorrow. That should come out for you guys on Thursday. And we're probably going to put the audio out on the podcast format as well for people who are just listening to us on the podcast. We're going to put that out on a podcast as well. Because Nunes is so clinical. He scored a fair amount of goals, though, to be fair, mate. If the goals were just 1 inch higher and wider, Darwin would have been prolific. What's this podcast? It's the Anfield Agenda podcast, mate. This. Just search it on any of your podcast platforms. Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Acast, whatever platform you listen to a podcast on. Search Anfield Agenda. It's there. They're all free to listen to. And we're going to be doing 2 a week. One will come out on a Tuesday and one will come out on a Thursday. George Edwards. Thank you, mate. Big respect, Craig. Greatest YouTuber of all time. Do you know what, mate? I've decided I want that gold play button. I won't get it. I'm not expecting to get it, but that's my new aim. Let's go for 1 million. There's no Liverpool channel have done it yet. Let's do it. Let's be the ones to get to 1 million. It's going to take us years, but let's do it. That's what I'm aiming for now. That and the Clips channel to get a silver play button, which would mean 100,000 subscribers. They're my 2 goals now for the channel. and to get the podcast top 10 as well. Come join us and sub, said Mark. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that. If you haven't dropped a like on the stream, please do. The best community will never walk alone, guys, said Tobias as well. Thank you, Tobias. Appreciate that, mate. You see Sky Sports article about Richard Hughes wanting a defensive midfielder. Yes, we spoke about it, Ryan, my man, just a few minutes ago. It's positive stuff. Yeah. It's good. Look, it's great today to be able to come on with some positivity. You know, it looks like Trent's going to agree a deal. Some positive vibes and murmurings around Virgil. The club are wanting to get business done. As long as these get done, I'm looking forward to just talking about football then and talking about Arne Slot and what we can expect for the season. First game coming up this week as well, over in the States. We will be doing a watch along of it. The game starts at 12:30 in the morning, so Friday night into Saturday. We'll start our coverage at about 11:45, but we will be doing the watch along of that game as well on the channel, so I hope you can join us for that. It is a late one, but you're on your summer holidays, or maybe if you're in work, it's Friday into Saturday. So either way, it's a win-win. Liverpool news at 10:30 apparently. Well, I'm going to need to know who's saying that, Casper, mate, because if it's a certain KFC specialist, I wouldn't hold my breath. Are we signing Andre? Not that I'm aware of, Sarang. Fulham were the only team that I'm aware of that are looking to bring him in. Obviously because they sold João Palhinha, but if we're looking to strengthen in that position, then it makes sense that he'd at least be under consideration. Alex said, reporting in Japan saying a deal is nearly done. Well, as I said to you, I'm going on to another Liverpool fan channel on Thursday, Sai, who's a Liverpool fan in Japan. So we're going to be speaking about that with Sai on Thursday, and looking forward to catching up with him. Really like the content he makes as well. Really fun guy, good energy in his stuff. So looking forward to chatting with him about it and seeing what the Japanese media are saying about it. It's from Ivan Schwakoff. Do you know what? I like Ivan. I've a soft spot for Ivan, I do. Ivan always so respectful and kind about our channel. He's always very kind when he messages as well, so I'm not saying anything negative about Ivan. No, I like Ivan. I don't actually know his real name, but I like the account. They've always been very complimentary of us, which is appreciated. Jack Dempsey, how are you, my man? Thank you for your super chat. Said, thank God, a DM. Please God, Ederson or Zubamendi. Also, João Gomez could be a good option too if we're unavailable. Right, I smell a poll. I smell a DM poll. So we asked, do you think that FSG are cheap with transfers? And 86% of you guys said yes, they are cheap with transfers, and 14% said they are not. Ben, for the next poll, my man, could we have options? So defensive midfield options, and the 4 names, Ben, that I'd like you to put on the poll, please, are Ederson, Zubamendi. I'm trying to think João Neves or João Gomez, because one of them has been linked. Both have been linked with us, but I'm trying to think of Fofana. Yes, Fofana, Ben. So Fofana, Ederson, Zubamendi. I need one more name. Yeah, Matt O'Reilly. Let's go Matt O'Reilly, actually, Ben. So Matt O'Reilly, Ederson, Zubamendi, and who was the other one that we said? One sec. Fofana. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Ugarte ain't happening. Varella's gone very quiet. I'm trying to talk about names that have been in the media. Do you know what? I smell a semi-final. We'll do two. We'll do it like the last time. We'll get poll number 1 up, and then we'll get poll number 2. So I'm going to write out the names for the second one. Hang on. Because I smell a double poll here. 1 second. Right, so second one, we'll put Varela in the second one. So Varela. One sec. Varela, who else can we put in the second one? McTominay. Someone's lost their damn mind. Decore Alfred isn't a bad shout, mate, but I just can't see it happening with the amount of players that Palace are potentially selling. Kimmich, that's another interesting one, yes. Kimmich. Neves. Okay. I need one more name, guys. I've got 3. There you go. Ben knocked it out of the park with the first one. Thank you, Ben. So I need one more. So the first poll is up there. Vote away. We'll do a semi-final. So we'll take the top 2, and then we'll take the top 2 from the other one. Do you know, actually, that's a waste of our time. We'll take the top 1 from each one, because that's clearly the preference. Ugarte's not going to happen, so... João Gomez. I have João Neves down. Coop Miners, Andre. I think it has to be Andre. We'll go for Andre. Right. Anyway, thank you. So vote away on that one. I've sent in the list for the second poll, so we'll work away on that one. Fofana's an interesting one. I have seen Fofana's name thrown around a little bit. Adam Wharton, again, I think Manchester City have signalled their intent to go after him. Hulman, I've seen it a while ago, but it seems to have gone very quiet on Hulman. Yeah, it's gone quiet on him. Sorry, I'm trying to think back over all these in my brain. Ian said, I remember that job offer. It would have been for me to go over to Portugal and Spain, mate, the last one. The one that you're speaking about back then. It would have been to go over there. Sean, welcome into Anfield Agenda Ultras, my man. So, don't worry, we have the second poll ready as well, and Neves is in the second poll for those who are asking. See, Man City are going to spend 68 million on Eze, according to reports. I think that's mental. Look, I think Eze is a good player. But if you told me tomorrow that Liverpool were going to spend 68 million on Eze, it's too much money. I'd want at least 15 million off that price tag. And obviously, Palace have already lost Elise. If I have my way, they'll lose Mark Gay as well. And Arsenal have been linked with a move for Mark Gay. Have you seen that? They're talking about using a player plus cash offer to maybe try to sign Mark Gay. That really worried me. That was the thing last night I was saying to you guys I was waiting for the second confirmation on. So that would scare the bejesus out of me. So I hope there's nothing to that. Why not hijack Ugarte? He's not the right style for us. You know, I watched a good bit of him in the Copa America with Argentina, or excuse me, with Uruguay. Name more countries, Craig, with Uruguay. And the one thing that stood out to me as being really, really poor from him was his distribution. He was good at winning the ball back. He was decent at pressing, but he was very wayward in his choice of passes, the weight of pass. And it really didn't inspire me with confidence watching him. Ian, thank you, mate. The Corey from Palace, he's a name we've been linked with LFC before, definitely. Again, I would just go back to, are we really going to see Palace stripped of that many players? You know, they've got Elise money already. They've got fairly wealthy owners in. Some of the players have release clauses that they can't do anything about. You know, I can't see a summer where they lose, let's say, Wharton, Elise, Eze, Gay. This is just not going to happen. You know, the manager would walk. Dennis, proud of you, Craig. Thanks for staying with us. This was the most difficult one, Dennis. Honestly, this was the toughest choice because there would have been no doubt that this would have put my name very firmly in the public eye in Ireland. but I've never believed in myself and backed myself, and I'm going to keep going with this one and see what happens. Alex said, it's ridiculous. Why do we not sign players for pre-season if that's the blame of Richards or FSG? It is mad, like. We're away now for 2 weeks, so I would hope that while the team are away, this will probably give more time for the likes of a Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards and the rest of the lads to get cracking on the recruitment side of things. What's this? Yeah, I don't think it is the Trent seats. Yeah, I don't think it is Trent. Sorry, I was just looking at the images of the 66 thing. Yeah, that definitely looks like just construction work, rather than it being 66. The Anfield Wrap also said that they found a picture from last Wednesday and it doesn't look like it. Yeah, I don't think it is anything to do with Trent, looking at those images. Right, let's have a look, see how the poll is going. Well, Ederson's romping away with semi-final number 1 anyway. We'll leave that up to see if we get it up to 1,000 votes, and then we will bring on the second semi-final. Is Varela out of the picture? He's going to be in semi-final number 2. And it's gone very quiet publicly around our links with him, but, you know, that doesn't mean anything because Kubo kind of came out of nowhere and that link. So this is what Edwards does. Sometimes he's the master of not distraction, but, you know, kind of look over here while I'm here doing something else. Prank from the construction workers. Yeah, it could have been. Fair play. I hope it is a prank from the construction workers because I do love a bit of shithousery. Did you see an Arsenal fan spread pictures of him as a kid and claimed it was a young Calafiori in an Arsenal kit? Misinformation spread so fast. Yeah, I haven't seen it, sorry, but yes, I can well believe that things like that spread quickly. Right, we're going to end the poll because it's so clear that it's Ederson. So Ederson wins semi-final number 1 and he goes in to the final. So we're going to have just a 2-man final. So semi-final number 2, Ben will put together now and put up, and we'll give you guys a chance to vote on that. And the winner will get through to the final to take on Ederson to see who the Anfield Agenda audience feels would be the best defensive midfield option. Why not Amrabat? Because he's not good enough. You know, let's be honest. Look at Amrabat at United. No, thank you. United still have the opportunity, I think, to make that permanent, but I'm kind of glad we swerved that one. So Ben Woodburn, former Liverpool player, has signed for Salford City. That was announced earlier on today. Mark's just reminded me of it. Thank you, Mark. And well done to Ben Woodburn, Salford City. Good, solid signing for them. Right, so semi-final numero 2-0. I don't know. I shouldn't have gone down that other language route. Liverpool CDM choice semi-final number 2. Varela of Porto, Joshua Kimmich of Bayern, João Neves of Paris Saint... No, I nearly said his new club. João Neves of Benfica, possibly Paris Saint-Germain, or Andre Trinidad of Fluminense. Can we expect Slot to do well with no signings? Depends what you class as well. I don't think we'd be challenging for the title with no signings, but the news today has finally started to look a bit more positive that yes, we are going to be making signings, and yes, the club are going to get moving on that. Sky Sports reporting that Richard Hughes wants to bring in a defensive midfielder. Lots of talk about the centre-back situation as well. So yeah, look, today I'm feeling a bit more optimistic than I was yesterday, where I was a bit less optimistic. Craig, your friends on AA will never leave. Now you're making new friends as the channel is growing. Yeah, it's It's amazing, Mary. I'm very appreciative of everyone's support. And normally when we come close to the live shows, I get really nervous, but I'm actually just buzzing to get cracking next week over in Cardiff and Liverpool. There's still time to get your tickets if you haven't got them yet. You can get them with the link at the top of the chat. You can also find them in the description of the stream. Remember, they're only 15 quid each. If financial reasons are a reason you can't come, please just reach out to me and I'll sort out the tickets for you. Just contact at AnfieldAgenda.com. And also Liverpool then 2 days later, Hot Water Comedy Club, August 4th. Can we hijack João Neves from PSG? We could, yes. Absolutely. Will we? I don't think so. See, they seem to be haggling over the fee, which I agree with them on. 120 million euros, a lot of money for a 19-year-old. They're looking at about 70. That's been rejected. Whether PSG come back in or not, I don't know. There's been lots written to say that the player wants to move. But I don't know if the player wants to move as in the player does fancy going to another club and will get a decent chunk of money, or the player only wants to go to PSG. So I don't know on that regard. If he was open to it and we were open to it, absolutely. But I do like the idea of trying to hammer the price down a bit. I missed the super chat. I didn't know I've done that one. Can we expect Slot to do with no signs? I've done that one. Someone said I missed it, but no, I definitely read that one out. Brett said, can't wait to see you in Cardiff. Thank you. We're just finalising the final few bits with the venue today, actually. Ben was emailing back and forth with them over a couple of little bits and pieces. I picked up an Anfield Agenda mug today. I want to see what you think of it. Bear with me. Yeah, I picked up a sample of an Anfield Agenda mug today that we're considering ordering some of. I want to see what you think about it. So let me just drag this up on screen 1 second. Sorry, Ben, for ruining your beautiful graphics. There you go. So I picked up a sample of that today, as I said, and we're considering getting more of them. We're going to bring some over to Cardiff and Liverpool. We're going to give some away to people as little gifts and stuff, but just want to get your thoughts on that one. What do you think? Yay, nay, good design, bad design? I like it, personally. Nice. Now, I've got another question for you, because I'm trying to figure this out myself. What's the best... What's a reasonable sale price for a mug? Genuinely, what's a reasonable selling price in either sterling or euro? Because I have to factor all this in to figure out if it's feasible or not, obviously. So let me know what you think. Glad that you like the look of the mug, but I want to know what you think a reasonable £7. £7. Okay, well, let me just tell you that every number that's been put in so far, except one, is less than it costs to make. So, £7, never in a million years. $9.99, still low, but realistic. Rickster said £2, so Rickster's getting banned. Fuck you. $4.99. I mean, go find any mug for $4.99, mate, with a labelling on it. Wow. I guess we won't be selling mugs then. I think we can put the knife in that one, because none of those prices are even close to what would be a realistic price point. I think we could get the mugs to about... probably 14 quid, maybe, would probably be about the cheapest we could get them to. For instance, that one as a single mug for me to buy cost 13 euro to get that one made up. That's what it cost me to make, was 13 euro. Obviously, in bulk, you'd imagine you'd knock that down quite a hefty bit. But yeah, for it to be feasible for us, it would have to be a number and around between I'd want to get it close to £12. That's where I'd feel comfortable. But again, it depends on shipping costs and stuff like that as well. What's this one? DiMarzio, speaking about Virgil, said, I don't think Van Dijk will leave this summer. I don't think he'll pay for another Premier League team. We'll likely see offers from Saudi. They'll come, I don't know when, but we'll see if he wants to stay in Europe or accept them. I think Virg wants to stay, in all honesty. Cola Bottle said, this is Anfield mug, £6 in club shop. Right, and the logo on that is what? Exactly? There's no branding on it other than the This Is Anfield, so it's not like it's... Okay, and also, of course, I don't have the purchasing power of Liverpool Football Club. I wish I did. I wish I did. Shipping is rough to the US. I'm already sending 2 over, mate. I'm sending 2 over for Brian and his brother. Gonna send them off this week. So I'll know exactly how much that postage will cost. Right, let's check the poll results. Right, João Neves. So, Benjamin, the final of the Liverpool central defensive midfield options, please, will be Ederson versus João Neves. So that's the final, Ben. Ederson versus João Neves, and let's see what the Anfield Agenda audience thinks is the best one. Are they made in Ireland, UK? Ireland. But leave it with me anyway. So we're good on the design front. We like the look of the mug. Leave that with me, and I will see about getting the cost down by maybe bringing them in from, I don't know, China or somewhere. Leave it with me. I just wanted to check that you were okay with the look of the mug, because I thought it was cool looking, to be honest with you. So leave that one with me, and I'll keep you guys up to date with what we're doing with regards to how that's looking. Who was in the first poll? It was Ederson. Oh God, go back to the first poll. Ederson, Fofana, Varela, or was he in the second one? I can't remember the first poll, mate. Neves is a statement signing, whereas Ederson is a good one. Yeah, but I'd rather the right player. Now, I'm not saying that Neves couldn't be the right player, but I think, for me, the reason I've been so strong on Ederson has been the price, as well as the profile, the age bracket. It just makes sense for me. I'm not against the statement signing, don't get me wrong. I'd rather we spent the big money in centre-back, though. Yeah, that would be my preference, would be to spend the 65 or 70 million on a centre-back and get somebody like Ederson for about 40 or 45. But look, don't get me wrong. If we go in and sign João Neves, I'm not going to be complaining about it. I just wouldn't be expecting it. TAA66 said, Craig, I like the mug, looks cool. I'd say £12 each, maybe do a poll. Also, I'd like you to do some hoodies and t-shirts one day. I'm waiting on... I have 5 Adidas t-shirts and a couple of long sleeve tops getting embroidered at the minute with the Anfield Agenda logo. So I will be able to show you what they might look like as well down the line. And I want it to be Adidas because it's what I wear. So yeah, we're going to look at them as well. But I think you're right on 12 quid, by the way. That's exactly where I'd like to get it to. If we can get it out for 12 quid, I'd be happy with that, definitely. And thank you, mate, for your super chat. Very kind. Craig, I know you're a goalkeeper, but if you were an outfield player, what would be your best attribute? Set pieces, probably. You know, I was fast, believe it or not, but I was powerful fast. I wouldn't have had a great engine. Like, think of me more in the John Barnes category of powerful over 10 or 15 yards, but I wouldn't be going up and down the pitch all day. So when I did play outside, not a keeper, I played left wing. So, yeah, crossing probably and set pieces. I'm left-footed as well, which was a bit of a rarity, you know, a lot less left-footers around. Kubo is not coming. Oh, that's it then. Justin said it, lads. Chop the channel off. Close it down. Justin said it's not happening. We don't know, mate, in all honesty, Justin. Some people say yes, some people say no. You know, we don't really know at the minute. What height am I? Oh, you've taken it out. It's I'm 5'10", mate. 5'10". Superstar said, quote, what's the circumference of the mugs? For that price, I'm assuming 35 foot wide. No, mate, just 34 and a half. So we'll have to rule you out on that one. But that's okay, mate. I've removed you from the chat just to make it easier for you, so you won't be disappointed next time when we're talking about it. I can show you any podcast you want and show you mugs for 16, 17, 18.99, all you like. But it's much easier to be a smart arse, isn't it, than actually contribute to the conversation. Because one, I haven't set any fucking price. I asked what people thought would be a fair price, and then I said I'll try to get a distributor to get it down towards that number. But of course, it's much easier to just come in and be a dickhead, isn't it? Daft question, would you get away with selling Adidas t-shirts with AA on them? Of course. Why wouldn't we? So, think of it this way. You can go on to Sports Direct right now and buy an Adidas plain football kit for your team. Right? And you can buy 15 of them and you can kit out your whole team of them. It's no different buying an Adidas t-shirt or buying an Adidas hoodie. Once you've bought the Adidas product and you've paid for that product, you can do whatever the fuck you want with it. So absolutely, it's legal. And we did consider that, of course, as well. But ultimately, that's what I came down to for me is you can go out there and buy a kit now for your football club, a Nike kit, an Adidas kit, put a badge on it, stick a sponsor on it, wear it, sell it in your club shop, do whatever you want. It's the same premise, really. Once you buy the genuine Adidas product, then what you do after that, I guess, is up to yourself. I reckon we get no signings, but with signings, challenge for the title. I think without a signing, 4th to 6th is where I think we'd be at. Allowing for a couple of things. Some players to be coming back late and fitness building up. The lack of signings obviously being there. So yeah, 4th to 6th would where I'd feel we'd probably end up with no signings. But with the right signings, I'm ready to dream. I'm ready to dream about a title challenge again. I have real faith in the manager. I'm buzzing. You know, those of you who listen to the podcast will know that myself and Jack spoke a bit about the game that we played against Preston. And even though we lost it, there was lots of good stuff to see in there. Lots of good movements, lots of good quick passing. Young players look sharp. Lots of positives to take from that. So even with no signings, I think we do okay. But okay isn't good enough. You know, Arne Slot said himself, he wants to beat the points tally from last year because that isn't good enough. Liverpool should be looking higher than 3rd. And I'm with him. Anfield Agenda IPA, said Fobby Rowler. Always drink sensibly. So, I don't really drink too much. So, I don't even know what a good IPA would be, mate. You know, I'm not the right person to be making that call. I probably drink twice a year at most, if even. Actually, I don't even think I've ever had an IPA. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had one. James Delea, how are you, mate? Thank you, sir. Craig, I'll take 2 mugs and maybe send one to John in Boston. Imagine him drinking out the mug, the cheap. Look, we've got a few mugs that we're going to give. Like, there's a couple of we know there's a couple of kids who are coming to the Anfield Agenda live shows, like Sinead as an example, and young George who's coming along. I've got a couple of mugs for those as little presents, just little thank yous to the kids for watching, and their parents for bringing them to the shows and stuff. So yeah, we'll have some over in the live shows. I was considering whether we should bring some over to sell at the live shows, but at the price point we're at now, you know, we'd be probably having to sell them at less than we bought them for. But look, it's just an idea because people have said to me about merch a few times, so I decided I'd finally bite the bullet and try 1 or 2 little things. Right. Oh, I love this poll, by the way. We're going to leave that running, but so far, you guys are backing my boy as the best signing in defensive midfield. What's an IPA? It's an independent pale ale or something, isn't it? An IPA, I think. IPAs are rotten. You're not missing anything. Good man. Yeah, I'm not really a drinker, so as I said. Oh, do you know what happened to me weirdly today? I was coming into the estate in the car. I was with my psychologist. I came into the estate into the car, and I reversed the car into the driveway, and I noticed there was 2 kids on their bikes standing on the corner, looking towards the car, and I thought, I hope I haven't nearly hit them kids or done something. So I went back outside, and the 2 kids were still standing there, and one of them said to me, "Are you?" And I said, "I'm definitely me." And they said, "Are you Anfield Agenda?" And I said, "I am. Do you watch?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Thank you." And it was the first time anybody in my housing estate had ever noticed or knew who I was. So that was a weird little moment, but a nice moment nonetheless. Tanya said, "Only on can someone refresh me." Absolutely, Tanya. Let me refresh the news for you right now, my friend. So we'll go through everything that we covered today. We'll start off with, we can skip that one. Sasha Tavolieri had said the PSV Eindhoven winger, Johan Bakayoko, remains on Liverpool's list. Next one up, we spoke about Ian Doyle saying that Liverpool are more than happy to sign a centre-back, even though Ian Doyle and the Echo said, well, I don't want to say about Ian Doyle, but definitely the Echo said, Echo sources have said and repeated, no centre-back signing for Liverpool this summer, but there you are. James Pearce said, sorting out Trent Alexander-Arnold's contract is a priority for new sporting director Richard Hughes. The club's vice-captain is on holiday after the Euros and is looking forward to working with Arne Slot. James Pearce also said, senior sources of both Liverpool and Real Sociedad have dismissed suggestions that negotiations were in the final stages with Liverpool to pay Kubo 60 million release clause. Now that doesn't say we're not interested or we aren't negotiating. What that said is that we aren't in the final stages of negotiations, which was a very clever way of wording it. But then again, James Pearce is a clever man and a good man and a fine journalist. Then we start speaking about the social media news that started to come around a bit that suggested that Trent is about to sign a new deal, a 4-year deal at £300,000 a week. Academy Scoop said 5 championship clubs have expressed concrete interest in signing Cade Gordon on loan ahead of the upcoming season. The 19-year-old is waiting to hear Liverpool's plans for the fast approaching campaign before deciding on a final destination. We then went through the travelling squad who were going over to the USA. Really quickly, Tanya, they are Endo Szoboszlai, Salah, Jones, Elliot, Costas, Robbo, Carvalho, Bajcetic, Chambers, Pitaluga, Phillips, Gordon, Doak, McConnell, Yaros, Kelleher, Beck, Nallo, Kumas, Vandenberg, Kwanzaa, Morton, Bradley, Blair, Stevenson, Davies and Neone. Virgil van Dijk has confirmed to Liverpool that he wants to sign a new contract with the club, and Arne Slot does not want to lose the Dutchman, according to Graham Bailey. Dario AS, who are a Spanish publication, said Liverpool have intensified their efforts in signing Takefusa Kubo and are now willing to pay the £50 million release clause. This time the Reds are actually, and it's in all caps and bold print, actually going for the Japanese winger. There was also a piece from Ben Jacobs that said Liverpool would have loved to bring in Jorel Hatto early in the window, but they never advanced with that move. Liverpool felt like Hatto would stay at Ajax, so the deal never materialised. Ian Doyle and Anfield Sector have posted then to say this is the longest that Liverpool have gone into a summer transfer window without making a signing in 28 years. So, other than the pandemic, it was 1996, the last time that Liverpool took this long to activate in the transfer market in the summer and make a signing. This coming from the Netherlands said Vandenberg will likely be allowed to leave if a club offers €20 million. PSV Eindhoven is not willing to go that far, but a substantial offer will be made to sign him. However, it's not certain Sepp will join Eindhoven, as Stuttgart are also interested. Then we spoke a little bit about Matt O'Reilly, who'd been linked with moves to Juventus and Atalanta, but Liverpool's name has been creeping up that list as well. Favourites to sign him are Atalanta at 2-1, Southampton are next at 4-1, and then Liverpool are priced at 6-1, meaning it's pretty unlikely, but not out of the realms of possibility, as it is a position we're looking at. Sky Sports News then said Richard Hughes wants to strengthen, particularly in central midfield, following Thiago's departure with another holding player. DiMarzio said, I don't think Van Dijk will leave Liverpool this summer. I also don't think he'll play for another Premier League team. That is pretty much where we're at with the news. African_CatK, thank you for your super chat, my friend. Said, over the years, I learned not to panic. Liverpool not signing may look bad, but I keep the faith about whatever comes our way. Rivals can mock us, but it remains to be seen. So, I wish I was as composed and calm about these things as you are, my friend, but I get worried because I just don't have faith in the owners when it comes to transfer signings. I don't. I believe Richard Hughes will do a good job, Michael Edwards and the rest. I have faith in everybody else except John W. Henry and his bank account and FSG, because I always feel like they try to cheap out. So in this window, the window should be judged, in my opinion, as follows. Did we make the 3 signings we needed without losing any first team players? If the answer to that question on August the 30th is yes, happy days. If the answer to that question on August the 30th is no, then again we know where to look for blame, and it will be with the owners, because there's no shortage of good players out there. There's no shortage of time for Liverpool to get things done. So I wish I had your patience. I don't, but it is certainly more encouraging today than it has been over the previous week or so. But I don't like that stat, that 28-year stat as well. Jaden Dans misses out due to some discomfort in his back, and Bobby Clark stays behind to complete his rehab at Kirby. Again, coming from James Pearce. Jaden Dans, I think, will go on loan. I mentioned to you guys yesterday that Plymouth and Wayne Rooney were considering making a play to bring him in. And Bobby Clark, there's been a little bit of chatter about him going out on loan this season. Honestly, I thought he would have stayed with the first team, but let's wait and see how it pans out. I really do like young Bobby Clark, though. I think he's a good footballer. Henry Akena, thank you for the super sticker, mate. You're really kind. And Tobias said, do you think Vandenberg stays after this summer? Only if nobody pays the money. That's my firm belief, is that he is there to be sold, and that the club's intention is to sell. That's my belief. Other people may disagree, and of course I'll respect that as well. But for me, he made his bed when he made his comments. And if others aren't willing to pay what I think is a very fair valuation in €20 million, which is about what, 16.5, 17 million pound, for a centre back that's been on loan in the Bundesliga, done very well there, I think he's fair. If you see what others, United have paid for Euro, what we would have paid for Euro, and what others have paid, I think it's a very fair fee Liverpool are asking. So if nobody's willing to pay it, that's not really a reflection of his talent, in my opinion. But we have to wait and see. Maybe a compromise will be met. Maybe Sepp van den Berg will go for a bit less with a sell-on clause, as an example. I don't know. But I do feel like we should sell him. because I didn't like those comments. I just can't get past those comments. They were really shitty, in my opinion. I really hate when ads interrupt the stream. Sorry about the ads, mate. I genuinely, but we do have to, pay the bills and all that jazz. But the ads are random. I don't push a button here and ads play, but I get your frustration. So, we're almost at the 1,000 votes for the final results. I'm going to stay on until 10:30 to see if that news is there. Because you all asked me to, and I'm a man of my word. So I'm going to stay on till 10:30 and see if that Ivan Schwackhoff story is true or not. Let's wait and see. We're closing in. I'm waiting for the 1,000 votes, by the way, before we end this poll, because we always try to get up to 1,000 before we complete the poll. But there's a clear winner here anyway. Can you remind me what he said? I went back over it yesterday. It took me ages to find the comments. It was something like, you never worried about my development and now you're trying to mess with my future. Again, that is not the words he used, but it's somewhere in and around that. Do you know what? I've got to find it because I don't like misquoting people. And if somebody says something and I'm criticising them on it, it's only fair that I actually speak the proper language that was used. So bear with me. It's just going to take me a while to scroll back through a few days worth of work to figure it out. Sec. Come on. Still having to scroll back, sorry. I want to get the quote for you because I don't want to put words in somebody else's mouth, but I can't seem to find it here at the minute. Yeah, I can't find it. Off the top of my head here, going through all my notes, I can't find it that quickly. Okay, here we go. I've got it. So, this is what Sepp Vandenberg said. You've not radiated confidence in me all this time, but you want to hinder my future. I want to continue playing every week and further develop myself. In Germany, I enjoy away at Dortmund with 70,000 people, Bayern Munich away against Harry Kane, Stuttgart, Leipzig, Leverkusen. I'm very challenged against those types of clubs every week. So that opening bit there, you've not radiated confidence in me, but you want to hinder my future. I don't like that. Look, I think 20 million euro is a fair price. If people aren't willing to pay it, what do? If Liverpool don't deem them at the level required, it's kind of an impasse then, isn't it? Like, a player's only worth what someone's willing to pay. Blighty said, big shout out to the mods, like and subscribe. Please do, and yes, massive love to the mods. If you haven't, please do hit that subscribe button, folks. Right, let's end this poll. So with 70% of the vote, you guys chose Ederson as the central defensive midfielder that you guys would like to see Liverpool sign this summer from the 8 names, of course, that we put up on the poll. So well done to everyone that voted. Thank you for that. And I agree entirely, of course. Ederson's been the one I've been looking for. For me, if we take for granted that Kubo is genuine interest, if we ended with Gay, Ederson and Kubo, I'm calling that a good window. I'm happy if that's the window. I'm sitting here thinking we're going to challenge. I'm not necessarily saying we're going to walk away with the league, but if that's the window, I'm very happy with it. But it's a long way to go to get to that point, right? Any word on Jota's fitness? I think he should be fine, to be fair. He's on holidays at the minute after Portugal got knocked out of the Euros. And then he'll come back, and I would imagine, I'm trying to remember when Portugal went out. Were they quarterfinals on penalties that they went out? Got through the round of 16 on penalties, and then they got beaten on penalties, right? So he should make some of the US tour, I would imagine, unless they want to send him straight back to the actual training facilities to get work, and I don't know. And contracts as well for VVD and Trent. So there was lots of positivity online today about those. As I mentioned, the talk is that Trent would be 300 grand a week. I don't know why. Madrid's own love winding us up. They posted Trent Alexander-Arnold, favourite ground other than Anfield, Wembley? And the answer was Bernabeu. Okay, fair enough. But I hope he stays. The chatter is that he's going to sign a new deal. The indications look like he's going to sign that new deal. So let's hope he does. But if he doesn't, then we've got to panic. But I feel like he will. At this point today, with what's going around, it feels like there's more positivity around about the situation. Do we really need Kubo? Yes. Not necessarily Kubo, but we need a Mohamed Salah replacement. Think of it this way. Would you prefer bringing in Mohamed Salah's long-term replacement now, with a view to him getting used to the league, competing with Mo, and not having to necessarily hit the ground running, or sign the player next summer where they might take 6 months to bed in? They may not. They may hit the ground running. But I would always say, if possible, have that overlap year. Definitely. Where there's less pressure on the player instantly and we get competition for places. We should be charging Trevor Chalobah, or targeting. Chelsea are really trying to just force him out by the looks of it anyway. Not included him in their pre-season tour of America. It's a weird one for them. You know, the treatment of some of the players that they has been mental. How many year deal do you think? It's reported as being a 4-year deal. 2028. Spend the money on Williams. Williams, again, I can only tell you what's been reported because I'm with you. I'm not trying to sit here and say to you guys right now that I think that Takefusa Kubo is the best solution. I can only tell you what has been spoken about in the media. We all have our own personal opinions. And like you guys, I think Nico Williams is amazing. But it feels like Nico Williams wants Barca or stay at Athletic Club Bilbao. And I think he'll move to Barca. Barca are going to want that international hookup of him and Yamal. The same way they tore it up for Spain in the Euros. They're going to want that at Barcelona. They look across, obviously, at what Real Madrid have done. And they know what they're up against. So I think all indications suggest that Nico Williams is going to end up at Barcelona either this year or next year. Villa were also thought to be at the table for him with that Diaby money. Looks like they could be talking about João Felix now. So again, I'm not trying to say Kubo's the best solution. I still think Gordon would be a better option, personally. But I can definitely see a world where Michael Edwards has seen something in the underlying numbers that he thinks Kubo could become a monster. Kubo could look like a bargain in the longer term. I can see a world where that could happen. Like Salah. Klopp wanted Julian Brandt, and Edwards and the back team were pushing really hard, saying Mo Salah's the guy. The numbers point to Salah. Salah. And eventually, Jurgen listened. They bought Mohamed Salah, and the rest is history. Craig, rank the big six owners worst to best. So I don't think I can do that because I don't necessarily know enough about all of them. You know, I don't know the full ownership structure of Spurs, as an example. I couldn't tell you now how much of Arsenal Kroenke owns. Does he own it all now, or is there still other shareholders? I can tell you one thing though. United's owners are bottom. I can give you that comfortably to say that the Glazers are bottom of that list. So yeah, I don't think it's a fair thing for me to do because I don't really know all the owners. Is this the most frustrating window you can remember? yes and no. There are dark days where we were signing the Ivanoviches, the Roy Hodgson era, where we were making signings, but they were still... And I'm frustrated now because of how slowly things are going. But I can't comment on the whole window yet because we haven't seen it. So if we get the players in the positions we want, as I've said all the way through this stream, I'll class that as a good window. If we don't, I'll say we're a little bit short again. For me, the aim is simple. I want to win the league. I want to win the European Cup. I want to win the FA Cup. I want to win the League Cup. I want this to believe with every fibre of my being that Arne Slot and those boys can go out and do it. And I don't believe with the current squad that we could do that. We could compete. We could be there or thereabouts for Champions League spots. But I don't think we're going to strike fear in anybody. I think Manchester City are a weakening force for various reasons. De Bruyne, best case scenario, has a year left in him, really. His legs are going. Pep said he's not going to Saudi this summer, but it does look like he wants that Saudi money before he retires. Other players have left and they've replaced them and not really had the same fear factor. And then, of course, there's the 115 charges. Arsenal are under a lot of pressure because Arteta has to deliver at some point. All the pats on the back and attaboys and all this is great. Finishing second, getting Champions League is great. But he hasn't won the Premier League. He hasn't won the European Cup. That's what you have to do to justify spending the money on a Declan Rice and doing what they've done. So I'll always give credit to Mikel Arteta because he has done a very good job. But, you got to win as well. And, competing is great. But if you don't win big trophies, history's not going to give a fuck. And I think he's under pressure to do it. So Arne Slot has a kind of blank canvas at the minute. Nobody really knows what the expectations are from us. You've got the likes of Roy Keane, and I'll read out to you what Roy Keane said again. God, I don't really like Roy Keane as a pundit very much. Loved Roy Keane, the player. Just not a fan of Roy Keane, the pundit. Where's this one? How of it I can't find my own comments. Where was it what Keane said? Where's it gone? Oh, I can't find it. Keane said basically something along the lines of Liverpool fans wouldn't have even known who Arne Slot was. Some of them would have had to Google. They've got a striker who can't score and a defender in Virgil van Dijk whose best days are behind him. Do I think Liverpool are contenders? No. And Manchester United will be looking at this Liverpool team and feeling confident that they can finish above them. That's kind of the gist of what Keane said. And I disagree. I disagree strongly about the Arne Slot part anyway. Also disagree about Darwin. And if he wants to start looking about strikers and forwards who aren't scoring, just say hi to Marcus Rashford there. Remember all the money that you gave him, Roy? Should you not be focusing more on Manchester United's shortcomings in that regard? So yeah, look, basically I disagree with Keane and I don't like him as a pundit. Everyone is sucking United off. They've still got Ten Hag as their manager. I know. I opened up Sky the other day and 6 of the first 8 things were about United. It's mental. Like, the way they're going on, you'd swear United have gone out in this window and signed Messi, Ronaldo, Maldini, Gigi Buffon. They've done decent business, but they're still shit. Like, they've still got a long way to go before they're back near challenging for a title. But they have finally put a structure in place behind the scenes. And Dan Ashworth will make a big difference there. And things will be a lot better run. So, if for anything else, we need to keep making our strides forward. Because we don't want them to catch up with us. We don't want them to get back to being a real force. We need to keep taking our strides ahead. Because I've no doubt they'll improve this season. But I don't think they're going to be near a title race. Oh, and Anthony as well, yeah. I mean, Anthony. We've got 4 minutes now till that 10:30 supposed news story was coming out. So let's wait and see. Is Kubo quick? Yes. Keane and the Mangs bought the third choice Dutch striker. Yep, and as I've said, Ten Hag spent £500 million. £500 million Great British pounds since he's become Manchester United manager. In that same time, Liverpool have spent 300 million. So 200 million less for far better results. Although, I guess you could argue he's won 2 domestic trophies. 2 small ones, but, you know, again, I think they've wasted a lot of money. And I'd still be nervous if I was a United fan, because a lot of the players they're still being linked to, you can all trace back to Erik Ten Hag or a club that he managed. Zirkzee came in from Genoa, or Bologna, excuse me, but where was he previously? Bayern Munich. Exactly where Ten Hag was. Look at all the signings he makes. He seems to only trust players that he knows or a club he's worked at knows them. And that would be worrying to me. The money they spent on Anthony is a joke. And they can't move him on by the looks of it. Did you know that they have a first refusal clause in the contract for Mason Greenwood, who's gone to Marseille? They put that in the contract. A first refusal clause on that little toe rag. Why? You've done well to get rid of him. You've done the right thing for the club, for the ladies team, for anybody with a bit of self-respect. And then you put in a clause giving you the first refusal to buy him back. Blighty, thank you for gifting 5 memberships, mate. Appreciate that. You're very kind. Praveen said, how many signings would you ideally like to make this summer? 3. 3, mate. I would like 3 without selling anybody, and 4 if we could sell Costas and bring in another left back. So, central defender, central midfielder, and a forward. Pretty much exactly what we've been rumoured to be wanting to do in this window is exactly what I would want to do in this window. If we get Kubo, I feel he could be called world-class like Endo Minamino. Well, Minamino's definitely not gone on to be world-class anywhere. You know, let's be honest about that. But Kubo's just turned 23 last month, which feels like he's been around so much longer. Like, I remember him at Mallorca. I think he was a Barca player at one point as well. Madrid have a 50% sell-on. So, you know, if we buy him, Madrid are going to get, I think, 27, 28 million, something like that. Any news on Kelleher? No, really, really quiet, Keith. Really quiet on Quiveen, which I'm hoping is a good thing. You know, if Quiveen is happy to stay on for another campaign, I think that's brilliant for everyone. Continuity in the goalkeeping department would be really welcomed. That way we know if Alisson does pick up an injury or a knock, we've got a very, very, very good able deputy ready to go there to come in and replace or to fill in. Minamino was Monaco Player of the Year. And that makes him world class. You know, we're talking world class here, not good. No one's trying to say Minamino isn't a decent footballer, but he's not world class. He's not even in that conversation if we're being realistic. For Madrid to be rid of him, he can't be that good. I wouldn't say that. History is littered with players Madrid and Barcelona have let go. Sometimes come back in to buy back, other times they haven't. Martin Odegaard, prime example. Anybody going to say Odegaard isn't good enough? He was let go by Madrid. They've done it quite a bit, and sometimes they buy these players back, sometimes they don't, but I wouldn't be writing Kubo off on that front alone. Right, Mark sent me what that one was. What was it? So the KFC Bandit has said, we expect Liverpool Football Club have offer, so they can't even fucking structure a sentence. So instead of saying, we understand Liverpool Football Club have offered, this is the level of professionalism we're getting here. Liverpool Football Club have offer Trent Alexander-Arnold, a new contract today. 300k a week plus bonuses. 5-year contract without release clauses. The above could change due to ongoing negotiations. So basically, we've pulled this out our arse. It could change, and if it does change, we've covered our arse. And we're parroting what other people said 12 hours ago. Cool. Either way, if Trent does sign a new deal, that's all I care about. And 300k a week, it's kind of what we told you we'd probably have to expect. Because he's got a lot of leverage in this negotiation, and he's already on good money. So look, 300k a week is probably what we expected on that one. And whether it's a 4 or 5 year deal, I really don't give a shite. As long as he signs a new deal, I'll be happy. Is Trent's contract renewed? Not done yet, mate. No. It's looking, there's been quite a good bit of chatter, if you want to call it that. Quite a lot of positivity around the situation. But no, nothing confirmed yet. What's this he's sending me? Connor's trying to torture me now. He's sending me pictures of Jude and Trent in an LA nightclub. That doesn't mean anything. They're on holidays. It means nothing. We know they're mates. They're just going to have to be pen pals now because Trent's not going to Madrid. New deal. Who are the KFC bandits? Basically somebody whose name I don't even want to mention because they're so far removed from being reliable it's not even worth giving you their name. Do you think Kubo will sign? I don't know. I hope to know more tomorrow when I speak with David Lynch. That will be coming out on Thursday morning for you guys as a video, and it will be coming out as a podcast as well. So look, I'm going to say goodnight. We were hanging on to see what that 10:30 chicken o'clock news was, but just a little reminder to everyone before you guys head off. Podcast is live. The newest episode went out today. Myself and Jack Gill got stuck into the big talking topics, there you go, over the last week or so. There'll be another episode out on Thursday. Search it on whatever your podcast app of choice is. It's a free podcast, of course. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Tomorrow I'll be back, same time, same place, 8:30 or 8:45, so keep an eye out for that. The David Lynch video will be coming out on Thursday. I'm also speaking with Sai, Liverpool fan in Japan, on his channel on Thursday, so check that one out. And yeah, much love as always. Thank you for your kindness earlier on when I spoke about the job situation as well. That really was lovely of you guys. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Much love. Bye-bye.